Two for Chirping, Season 2, Episode 2. We finally have the captain, Justin Vaive, and Vaive Cat, who took the time right before it started to put that bobblehead of you with the beast from Kings Island up above you.
That's one of my favorite ones I've seen so far here. I'm a little biased, but I'll take it.
What year was that?
2019.
Was that when, because remember, I'm still relatively new. I've only been here for a year. I went to Kings Island once over the summer, but like, was the Beast, like, was that their new one? Is that like the marquee?
Oldest one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the marquee coaster.
I believe, I might be wrong. I might get fact checked here, but
okay.
I believe it's the longest wooden roller coaster either in the world or the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty cool. So have you gone on it? Are you a roller coaster guy at all?
Yeah, I went on it, and you'll feel it in the morning. It's rough, but it's one of my favorites there.
So we are, again, I'm excited to have you on here. We had you on Mini Chirps. I just want to ask like a ton of random questions. I'm sure hockey will be brought up at some point, but like, all right, subject to bobbleheads. That's a really cool one. I know you've at least seen the pictures, and our fans have not. Our fans have not seen it yet. But December 2nd, we've got your Superman bobblehead coming. I think this is pretty sharp. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Oh, yeah. Big fan. Huge fan of DC and Marvel in general.
Yeah.
So that obviously made it very easy for me to like.
So that's the thing. Like when you say you're a big fan, they've told me this. I don't think I've ever asked you this stuff in our interviews. Like, how did you become a fan of that stuff? Like and when you say a big fan, like, are you going to the movie theaters and seeing a lot of these?
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen every single one in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple opening night ones in there mixed in. Yeah. It's, I honestly, when I was younger though, I wasn't into comics, wasn't into like action figures or any of that stuff, which usually that's the normal transition. You're big in comics and then you go to the movies or whatever. But I think for me, it was more like video games and playing different video games and stuff when I was younger. And there was a few like Batman games and stuff like that and Ninja Turtles and all that. And then it just kind of transitioned once Marvel blew up into just natural progression, I guess. So
like when we have our games, because every year we've got, your Marvels, your DCs, you mentioned TMNT, like that's kind of the claim to fame game for the Cyclones. It was their only sellout. But I mean, are these games like, because it's a hockey game, you're just kind of dialed in, or are you like, man, these ones pump me up a little bit more?
I think I not so much during the game or when we're wearing it. I think I just like seeing the jersey releases like every year, kind of what they can do next. Because like you said, we've done so many of them over the years that you got to get creative now. And there's some that are really cool too, where I like where you kind of play the villain in the other team. Like they'll wear something and you wear.
Did we do that with Indy last year?
I think we did. We've done a Batman and Joker one. We've done a couple different Marvel variations or whatever. So that I like that one a lot too, when you get the double kind of feature in there.
Okay. So you also mentioned like, all right, when you're a kid, that's where you have the action figures and stuff like that. Does that mean that like are you a collector at all?
Not so much anymore. No, my brother, he was massive and he's still massive into a few like movies and stuff like that with collecting stuff. But I never was a big collector. I was kind of more of the kid that would play with something. And then as soon as he got bored with it, it was done. And I'd move on to the next cool toy.
Okay.
But my brother was the big collector and stuff. So we still have a huge collection of, old Jurassic Park, a lot of action figures, all that stuff. So
all right. So I'm trying to like envision you at like 6'6", tough MFer and like going out to these movies, which I mean, everybody goes to them, but like seeing you on an opening day, because I know you had to have seen this, whether it's like a Spider-Man's or Avengers, or I remember Dark Knight. I think the only like opening night I would have ever been to was the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. But I see cosplayers like at that.
That's not me. I stay away from that realm of things. I wouldn't be against it for like a Halloween or something like that. But yeah, the movies, I'm there just to see the movie, have some popcorn, enjoy it, and get out of there.
So you're not going to like those furry conventions?
No, not me. That's where I kind of draw the line of my fandom.
What would be like, okay, so what are some of the ones that you would have saw like opening night? Did you have like more of a vested interest to see those versus the other ones?
So the biggest one I went to, and there's a story behind it, I guess, too, but it wasn't actually Marvel. My brother and I went to the Avatar premiere.
Okay.
Which was
James Cameron with all the blue people?
Yeah, Banana Land. Like the lines were wrapped around everywhere. So we go to that. one of my favorite movies to this day. Loved it. Can't wait whenever they finally drop the second one.
I think there's a trailer out for it.
There is, yeah. It's like a lot of the underwater and crazy stuff. Yeah. So that year for Halloween, my brother came down to Miami. Actually, I was in Miami or at Miami, and we painted ourselves head to toe.
Oh my gosh.
Blue paint, had, the little like moccasin sandals, had the little like khaki kind of like Speedo-y shorts with the tail and the hair and everything. And like for probably a few hours over the course of the night, nobody even knew who it was. Like you couldn't even, it was that dark, the paint. And like it was head to toe full blue and people had zero clue who we were walking around. It was a good one.
Was there any like picture or anything?
There is one that I dug up to show some of the guys. It's like way back on my Facebook or something that I don't even use anymore.
Okay.
That it is there and it is hilarious looking.
So you bring up Facebook. I didn't even know if I was going to bring this up. And I kind of don't want to give it a shout out, but like I'm so annoyed with it now. So social media, who is this like retire Vaive account? It's on
I wish I could
post.
take credit or I knew who it was, but now at first I thought it was negative. When I saw it, I thought they were telling me to,
I got
like
you.
it was like retire Vaive, like get out of here. And I was like, man, that's a little gutless. Like, and then and then I finally clicked on it and I was like, oh, they're like, it's the other way, like praising. So I'm like, okay, I'll let it go. But I have no clue who it is. I think it's hilarious. I'm sure some people get annoyed with it, but I have no clue.
So give me any theory, because this actually would be a great backpedal. Like we probably can't even bring up like what the tweets were. But like last year,
I don't think there's any correlation between last year's and this year's. I wish there was. That would make it 10 times better. But
do you have any opinion on like if you think there's a player behind it or was behind last year?
It started too early in the year, though. That's the problem. If this was like Christmas or January and it popped out of nowhere, I would think it was one of the guys being an idiot.
Okay.
But it started like before training camp, right around, and half the guys didn't know me, and like half the guys returning, I don't think would have done it. And if you look, which I actually did a little detective work, they tweet onto like game update tweets, whereas we're all in the locker room.
Oh, that's
so
true.
If you look, there's like 7:45, a tweet will go out like, oh, we scored to make it 1-0, and they'll comment right away.
Yeah.
Which means it can't be a player.
Okay, that's fair.
So I eliminated that part pretty quickly.
Is that the same for last year then too?
Don't know. I never actually went back and looked. That would be something you'd have to go look at.
The Ralph accounts?
Yeah, the timestamp on those, I can't confirm.
Unreal. Like, is that the worst burners you've ever seen as a player?
Worst, but also insane, yes. Like, the time that was put into that, I like, whoever it was, if they send me a DM, honestly, if you ever see it.
There it is.
I have to know, because the thought process behind it is something else. I will say that.
If this person comes out of the woodwork, though, I mean, are you threatening them with this DM, or is this a prize potential?
If the retire Vaive person DMs me and leaks something, there might be something lucrative in it for them.
Okay.
Maybe something signed or something during a warm-up.
All right.
And I will keep their identity hidden.
Last year's account, though.
Nah, I don't know about that one. I can't associate with that.
So I don't know why we randomly got off on that, but that is really two for chirping. Like it is a bunch of random stuff. So those were some mega chirps last season. You are this big DC, this Marvel fan, dressed up as one of the characters in, now I'm forgetting the movie's name. Avatar. What about like a favorite movie? Do you have one? In that
out
universe?
Of the Marvel ones, or
like, are you the kind of guy? I know you said you draw the line with the cosplay, so like I get it. You're not 6'6" Spider-Man in the theater, but like, are you the kind of guy that is geeky enough to be like, all right, well, like my favorite Marvel movie is this, my favorite DC movie is that?
I don't know if I actually have a favorite. Like I did go back and watch all the Marvel movies over. Like, have you ever seen the picture of like the order you're supposed to watch it?
Yes.
Not the order they actually came out in.
Right, like in the canon of the universe.
Yeah, so I did go do that. I think it was like right when like COVID was starting up or whatever, and I slowly just kind of chipped away. There's a lot. It's like 36 movies or something. Like there's a lot now. But I think overall, I don't really think I have like an absolute favorite. I just kind of loved how it all tied in some way or another to each other. I enjoy that kind of narrative.
Like that continuity.
Yeah.
I like that too. You ever into like horror movies at all?
No, that's
No?
one genre I will not.
Okay.
I'm not going to actively sit down and willingly scare I think that's dumb. Like,
All right.
if I want to be scared, I would watch it, but why do I want to do that to myself?
All
It's
right,
like a haunted
fair
house. Why do I want to go somewhere
yeah.
and actively get scared? Like, that's just not fun.
Some of them are tough.
100% agree with that. 100%.
There it is. Braden's allowed to talk on this, by the way. He has the headset.
See, I like the point though.
Yeah.
I never understood that.
My family did the Marvel thing too. It's a lot.
It takes a
During
long
COVID,
time.
It takes a long time.
Is that kind of your, I guess your like, I don't know, hobby in the pandemic? I feel like everybody either picked something up or like decided to just go all in on something. Because like,
for me, it was streaming on Twitch.
oh really? Oh, that's right. I
Yeah.
heard about this.
Yeah,
but
no.
dude, your social media, just not to cut you off, but like your Vaive Cat Twitter handle, like I never see you tweeting on it. Like you're not that
I
active.
lost my other one. It it got like hacked or something, and I couldn't recover it because the old email for it, I don't have the password for anymore, so I can't get the recovery.
Oh, I see.
So
yep.
the one like from college that I had all like for 15 years almost,
Yeah.
I lost that one like a summer ago, so I had to make that new one. But I'm not really active. I'm more active lurking than actually tweeting.
Okay. Well, what about the Twitch streaming though? So you did mention you were a gamer as a kid.
Yeah, no, I went full go on that. We had the camera, the lighting, all
wow.
that stuff. I had the soundboard all set up, the dual monitor. Like it was awesome. I loved it. And actually, like I still to this day when we're doing fan interaction stuff or autograph, like people will come up and ask when I'm going to start it back up or if I still do it. And it's tough during the season. That's the first thing, because I think the biggest thing about it is consistency.
Yep.
You have to be able to try to do it at the same time every day for people that want to actually watch or
you're trying to build a fan base.
Yeah, and it's tough when, we play Wednesday, then we travel on a Thursday, and then we're gone. Like, so, and it's just a lot too. Like, I mean, I used to think so too. I'm like, how do these people complain? They get to sit there and play video games for, 5, 7, 8 hours and make money and entertain. And I was like, and then I did a couple like 7, 8 hour streams during like COVID and stuff, and I was dead.
Dude,
after.
it's a job.
Oh, like your head, your eyes, like it's a lot, but I loved it. It's something I wish I could put more time into for sure.
What games were you playing?
We did basically everything. Like we were playing Call of Duty, Fortnite. I did a couple like solo player ones where literally from start to finish kind of went in blind. Like the one actually I really liked it, which it is a horror game, which was kind of surprising, but the Last of Us it's called.
Yeah, yep.
There's a show coming out, I believe, based on the video game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the show. I know of the game.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny when you talk about guys like that or guys, girls that, what are they called? Influencers now, I guess, if you're on social like that. Content creator. There it is. That's what we're content creators doing this.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're legit. If you got the CC next to you. But like the hard part about that too is those people, like if you're making money, some of them are doing it every damn day. And then like, buddy, what happens if like somebody in the family dies? Like you still have to get on, smile like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
Or you're tired or you're sick or whatever. Like it's the ultimate put on a face.
It's so true.
For people.
So true.
Like for us, like for a game, for example, if you're under the weather, nobody in the crowd knows.
Yeah.
How would they ever know?
Right.
But the problem is when you're a camera sitting on your face for 7 hours and you have to interact and be cheerful and all that, it can be tough for sure. But I mean, ultimately, it's a great, like, awesome job to kind of have. And I think 18 months basically, I was going 5-6 nights a week, and we were doing like some like community things where like anybody could join, and we were getting up to like 20-30 people playing with us all at once. It was a lot of fun. I loved it, and I was also cool like with the fans because it's a different level of interaction, I guess. Like, you can see us in passing, or you can see us on the ice and have a little stop and chat or whatever. But this kind of it gives some people a look of our personal lives, I guess, which some guys don't want to open up about that. Some guys don't want to kind of share that stuff. But for me, I don't really care. And I think people enjoy kind of seeing that side of guys.
Were you always that way? Like because you are very talkative now, like your voice even, like I was telling Braden before we started, like, you won't have to worry too much about the editing because like you're just a louder spoken person. But I mean, when you were rookie here, 10, 11 years ago, was it that way? It's like did you ever do a formal media training?
No, I don't really think so. No, I mean, I was still just as outspoken and I guess and cheerful and loud and whatever, but maybe more pick and choose my moments when I was 20, 21, 22, kind of not to step on other people's toes or, speak out of turn or when I should, when I shouldn't, whatever it is. But no, I think you asked my parents when I was 4 years old, I was still the loudest person in the room. So I don't think that's really changed for sure.
You ever talk? I mean, your dad, which is going to come up. Like Rick Vaive is a legend. If anybody doesn't know that, like former captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the best in the NHL all time. Austin Matthews took. I mean, how many decades and years did it take for somebody to hit the 60 goal mark again as a Leaf?
40 years.
40 years.
Yep.
So I mean, unbelievable records. And I think of a guy like Rick who has that pedigree, and then like. Does he think anything when like he finds out? Like, do you tell him like, Dad, I'm streaming for 8 hours, or like?
Honestly, I don't think they understood really. They'll probably see this too, and I'll get a text at some point. But like when it comes to tech, they're not up to date for sure. Like when I go home, there's usually a laundry list of things that have either broken or gone wrong that weren't fixable, whether it was, the Alexa device or like the smart TV or the Wi-Fi or something like that. So I kind of take that role for their house when I go home. So it was a interesting conversation to try to explain to them what exactly I was doing. I mean, even 10 years ago, I think people, not even an older population, I think everybody was like, why would people watch people play video games?
I'd agree with that.
Like that's how it started.
100%.
People were like, that is the stupidest thing ever. Why would I want to sit there when I could just play?
Yeah.
But it's the same as sports. Like, why does somebody want to watch me play hockey? Well, either A, they enjoy the game, or B, they can't do it. So it's kind of, I want to watch somebody that can do it at a higher level.
It's almost like living vicariously through you.
And it's the same as video games. It's some of these guys that are on Twitch or whatever, YouTube streaming, I'm like, they are so good at what they do that like I will even sit there and be like, that is insane. Like I can't fathom how hard it is to do that until you actually try and do it yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think, well, for me, games that stick out that I used to watch people do, like when I was trying to do what they did is kind of a throwback here, I guess. Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Or Rock Band. You ever play those games?
I played the first two Guitar Heroes, and then after that, I haven't been back on it.
I was able to get I don't even think they're made anymore. There certainly hasn't been for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
But like those were crazy.
Oh,
like you would watch
Through the
somebody.
Fire and Flame.
Yeah, Guitar Hero 3, Dragon Force.
I actually saw a clip it was on like Instagram or whatever of a guy. It took him like 7 months, and he 100%ed it on expert. And I watch it, and I couldn't even tell you what his hands were doing while he did it. Like now my hands, I've had too many surgeries and broken bones and stuff. So it's just way too hard for me. But like, even when I was younger trying to do it, I was like, I wasn't even close to that level.
I could get on expert, but not on like that song like that.
Oh, you can't even see the notes. They're going so fast. It's crazy.
The thing is, a lot of songs that are really hard on that game, they're hard because they have stretches that are difficult.
Yes.
That entire song is like 8 minutes and is just a monster right from the start. Like,
it's crazy.
It's nuts. What about, by the way, I had no idea where this conversation was going to go. And that's kind of how I'm doing these interviews, and they're working out for me.
Yep.
So here's a good question. You think of like, all right, people watch hockey because I can't do that, but watching you is really cool. You'll watch somebody play a video game on like the hardest difficulty, and it's like, how do they do it? What is something that like you've either gone down the rabbit hole on, or you just know of people that do it that's like, why am I watching them? Like one that I'll just throw out at you is like, you ever see this, there's a lot of them, but like there's a food review guy who like wears a suit and tie and like just eats food. And like you're there to watch him eat that food item. Like, oh, I'm trying the new like Popeye's chicken sandwich. It's like, why am I watching you eat this sandwich when I could just go out and order it myself?
Yeah, fair.
Right? Like, isn't that a weird one?
But I think that's also because he's doing all the hard work for you. Like
What,
if
like
you,
he's trying it?
yeah, like if he reviews it and he reviews it terrible, are you gonna want to still
Maybe
go
not.
up? But if he says this is the best thing I've ever had, well
true.
then yeah, I might be inclined next week when I drive by to pick it up.
That's true. What's like? Do you have a weird one that sticks out to you? Because there are some odd ones, man.
There's a lot, and I feel like TikTok has made that so much worse
Yeah.
because the algorithm is like it's scary how like dialed in
Yeah.
it is to like people's interests and stuff. Trying to think. I don't know if I have one specifically that like I could come off the top of my head. I know there's tons of video game ones too that like I for sure could like or I have gone down long rabbit holes with it. Especially like or even like Marvel, you know, the post credit like little teasers.
Yeah.
Like so if you ever go to a Marvel movie in theaters, everybody stays
Right.
and you wait. So I always laugh because now that I've been to so many, you'll know the people that have never
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
been or knew about it. But then I'll go home and like Google what it meant exactly. And then I just start going down and down and it's tying to this movie and that movie. So I've definitely done that after several movies for sure.
So that I guess I'll try to break away from that. We're trying to learn about like all these like really random, interesting things about you, like the Marvel stuff, the streaming.
Yeah.
Another one, and I think we debated on it last year. I don't know how serious it really was. I think it was at least somewhat serious. Is like, okay, streamer, hockey player, Marvel fanatic, pro wrestler.
Now it's becoming kind of a pipe dream, not really a thing. But when I was younger, I was obsessed with it.
Okay.
Like, I think I probably, like, and I know my parents could corroborate it, but I think I went on a streak of probably like 4 years straight without missing one night of
Wow.
Monday Night Raw or Thursday Night SmackDown.
Wow. Okay.
Like I would get home, race through homework, dinner, right downstairs, 2 hours of Raw, and it was like my like soap opera basically,
Yeah.
like General Hospital or something.
Yeah,
that
true.
was it for because it basically is.
It
a
is.
soap
Yeah.
opera. Like,
yeah. It's like choreographed ballet,
yes,
but like more
and
physical.
I was obsessed with it. Like my dad took me to a pay-per-view event.
Which
like,
one? I'm curious.
That one was like the what is it? Tables, ladders, or
Yeah. TLC.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to that. Like I went to a few live. I've been to a few here live.
Yep.
I did the whole seat filler thing one time where
Yeah.
they move you around and all
Yeah.
that. I have some chairs still at like my place where the bottom ones for any pay-per-view ones, they
Yep.
have like, we actually have it in the locker room.
I have
too.
one as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I have a couple of those from different like pay-per-views and stuff like that. But then I guess fast forward 5-10 years, somehow, some way, the PHPA, which is our union,
Yep.
teamed up with the WWE because I guess they saw a lot of common kind of traits with hockey players and wrestling, which I guess, I mean, they're both entertainment.
Yeah.
They're both, a personality kind of.
Have to be in physically good shape.
Yeah. And so guys emailed whoever it was through it on my behalf without me knowing, basically with a full resume and all the whole works. And then randomly I get a call, like, I don't know how long after. And I thought it was a prank call.
You're in Bridgeport, by the way,
Yes,
just
I was
to
in
make sure
Bridgeport,
everybody knows.
And they have a training facility in Stamford, Connecticut.
Yep.
So I thought it was a prank call, and I mean, very quickly I realized it was real. And after the season, I actually had shoulder surgery. But right before I had that done, I went down and visited and toured through the facility and all that.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. I mean, and back then it was that was 6-7 years ago probably. So I was kind of still mid-20s on the cusp thinking, hey, if this hockey thing doesn't work out, it could be a quick right turn into this. So I haven't yet, but who knows? I guess, some of these guys wrestle till they're like in their 50s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or worse, if I don't know how in tune you are with anything, but like Ric Flair just did a match a couple months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
So I guess it's never too late technically, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
So you were in, and again, this just so everybody knows the time lapse we're talking. So you're with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers at that
Back
time,
then,
now
yeah.
Islanders. You were in the AHL. Were you at like because isn't it, is it Florida? They have like a performance center. Were you sent there?
No, I never went through with like actually going down. It's like a 6 or 8 week thing.
Okay.
And the problem with it is I wouldn't have been able to train for hockey and do
So
that.
you never did like a WWE workout?
No,
of any kind?
I never went down to they have the big one. I think it's in Orlando, I believe. That's the one where they have like the shows that they tape out of there.
And NXT.
Yeah.
Is the development.
And then during COVID when they had like the dome.
Yeah, the Thunderdome.
Yeah, that was down there. So I never actually went down there. I think that would be a really cool thing. Do you remember the TV show Tough Enough?
Yeah.
With Stone Cold and stuff?
I remember, do you remember Maven, who won
Yes.
Tough Enough? This is way back. I was really young at that time.
So there was always that. I saw that starting up. I think it only
Yeah.
lasted like a season or two, but that was another thing that I thought about kind of ever going towards because it was raw people that had no like formal training.
Yeah.
And you basically went there and went through the ringer for however long they taped. And then the winner of that got like a free contract onto like NXT or whatever it was.
Did you meet anybody? Like, I mean, because they called you. So, like, was that? I know a little bit. So, full disclosure, like, I am somewhat of a wrestling fan, and like you, I grew up with Raw and SmackDown in my house. I grew up in the Attitude Era, and I think Ruthless Aggression Era they call it. Now, I don't really watch WWE that much anymore. I'll still go to the shows at HBC. I'm not advocating against them, but I did sit front row for the AEW wrestling show recently. I like that, but so again, bringing it full circle, like. I know they say, I think John Laurinaitis would be like the talent guy for WWE who would call people that if he was interested. Is that who you would have spoke to or would you have met anybody?
Below him, whoever it was that was in charge of the partnership between the PHPA and them,
Gotcha.
he's the one that reached out. And I obviously they told him I was in Bridgeport because that was the only way he would have known I could drive over
makes sense.
to the offices in Stamford. So I just I didn't really meet or nothing official there. I just did a tour and like anybody from the public could do and go do the tour of the facility and all that stuff. But
Did you like see anybody of notoriety there? Even if you didn't interact with them?
not when I was there, no, because I think they were on the road.
Okay,
that's
makes
another
sense.
thing too. I was like, their schedule
what a
is.
schedule.
I think it's like what 49 or 50 weeks of the year.
I think it's all the time.
I think there's 2 weeks though where they don't have like a Raw.
Maybe.
I think it's over
I don't know.
the week of Christmas and then like the week of 4th of July are
Okay.
the only 2 where there is no Monday Night Raw.
Maybe. But that is another good point. Because
That's
like
a lot of travel.
I looked into like broadcasting and I thought about it. I'm like, dude, every day is a road game.
Yeah.
Like every show you're going to is a road game.
There's
you
2
know?
a week where you have to travel to each one, and then once a month there's a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So that's that week you have 3 days of travel, of new
and
cities.
And it's really not 3 days of travel because how many times are you traveling in day of? You know what I mean?
No, they'll come in the day before,
Yeah.
do the event, leave after, get to a new city. You have a day off, then you're right into a Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the Sunday night. So yeah, it would like I give those guys a lot of props, especially the smaller guys or the guys starting up that don't, they're not flying everywhere. They're on a bus just like us and they're bouncing city to city.
What if, so like when you said that for 4 years, and I'll jump to another subject here in a moment, but when you said for 4 years, Raw and SmackDown, some pay-per-views and mixed in there, like, I mean, how into it were you? Like, were you into it?
I knew the entire storyline going on. It
Okay,
was
so like baby faces, heels, all that.
It was like, I can still remember going down to the basement and watching it. It was probably like fifth grade. It was when I really got into it. So it was like right end of elementary going into like middle school is when I was watching it. It was like when Vince McMahon's daughter and like Triple H and the whole wedding thing and all that. It was during that era of the WWE. But yeah, I was fully invested.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance with the way, I mean, your body, obviously takes a beating over hockey, but this, like, this is the other thing too. People that don't know about it are quick to be like, oh, the fake stuff. Like, you would know from watching it, like, you would still have to be in incredible
I don't
shape.
care how padded or staged anything is.
Yeah.
You're still doing the stuff.
Right.
Like, you're still doing flips and falling 15 feet. I don't care if it's onto a mattress. It's still, like, the odds of getting hurt is still there.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously you see it every once in a while. A guy will have a serious injury. I think, what Paul brother is it that wrestles now?
Oh, is it Logan that just fought Roman Reigns, maybe?
Well, yeah, so apparently he tore like his ACL, MCL, and meniscus in that fight.
Yep, because Jake Paul's the boxer.
Yeah, so I'm like, right there, I'm like, that guy's a young guy in shape. He was boxing and, 2 fights into his wrestling career, and now like he is hurt. So like things do go wrong, and you still have to be athletic and flexible and be able to do all basically the moves they're doing.
Yeah, I wonder how different your workout routine would be for hockey versus that, like in terms of your regimen.
I'd probably have to put on a lot of weight.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, based on seeing all the guys, the image they want. Like I'd probably have to put on like 30 or 40 pounds.
How tough do you think that would be for you?
It'd be hard. I can't gain weight easily. Or good weight, I guess.
I gotcha.
A better way to put it, but I think it would be tough.
Well, you'd have to, I guess, blend in, I would imagine there would be some level of routines that maybe are a little similar. Like one of them is, I don't know if it's a routine. What is this? Because I do not know the full story. What is this thing with you and mustard? What do you do?
It's for cramping. I started it years ago, and then I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, somebody in the NHL got caught, not caught, but like they caught it on a camera of him like drinking out of a mustard packet. And I was like, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
And they like blew it up into this huge crazy thing. I was like, no, that's been it. Some guys do pickle juice. I just prefer mustard during the game. I don't know.
So is there mustard like at the bench? So basically if you cramp
I have a bottle. Yeah. Tim has a bottle of mustard for me.
A bottle?
Yes. Like just a bottle of Heinz mustard. Yeah. And you just take a little shot of it and rinse it down with like some water or Gatorade. And because guys didn't believe me, there is a science out there if anybody wants to go Google it. There is something it's something in like the mustard seed or whatever it is that affects the lactic acid in your body.
Okay. So that helps uncramp everything.
Yes.
Is it like a proven science in the sense that you've never had it not work?
I mean, I think sometimes if like it's a overtime game or it's a long game or whatever, end of a 3-3, like if I'm cramping, I'm cramping. Like there's
fair enough.
There's nothing, but it does ease the pain of like a bad leg cramp for sure.
So speaking of games, you have obviously played, I think it's over 600 as a pro. At the time of this recording, you're closing in on 300 as a Cyclone, which you would get Thanksgiving Day. Which, by the way, thanks ECHL schedule for making us play on Thanksgiving Day. But it would be that 6 goals away from tying Auburn for 112 as a Cyclone. So like, I say all that to say, do you have like what games stick out to you here? I almost want to ask you like what your favorite year is, but I feel like you would say Fort Wayne because you won the cup.
Yeah, as an overall kind of topper on a season, if you ever win a championship, that is going to be the one that sticks out, I guess, because you make the most memories, obviously, I think. But I mean, every year I think I could pick and choose things out. I think the 2018 year there where we set the home win record. It's like, and we won the Brabham Cup that year and stuff like that. I think. You look back at that year, I'm like, from a regular season standpoint, you can't get any better.
Yeah. Good start this year, though.
Yes, very good start this year. And I think that year, like, there's another, like, that team I think was special, and there's memories there because of whatever we did at home when it was like 32, 2-2 or something. Like, it was crazy.
Ridiculous. What, is there like a game in your career that sticks out? I guess aside from maybe your first pro game?
I would probably say this is weird too because it's not here, which half my career has been here. So like, But when I was in Greenville for a short period there, we played. It was against Wheeling. That's why I remember it in playoffs. And we went to a 4th overtime.
Wow.
And I know a lot of leagues have had those, but in the ECHL when you only dress 10 forwards.
Yeah. How much mustard did you have that night?
Oh, it was bad. Like that's what it got to the point where lines would go out. Whoever got the puck first would have one chance down the ice. And if you didn't score, which obviously nobody was, you would just go change right away. And then the other team would come down, dump it in, and then they would change. And it was just back and forth because like all these NHL games and American League games and stuff, you have 12 forwards.
Yeah.
So you have a 4-line rotation, but we had a 3-line rotation going. So like I think some of the ice time totals that came out of that were just insane. Like we're talking like upwards of like 70 minutes, 80 minutes played.
Thank God you're a forward and not a D.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that. Did you guys win?
We did, yes.
That's got to be a cool one.
I think
Cool moment.
it was game 5, and then we had to go back, and then we had to play in Wheeling
The next day?
The next night,
Oh.
yeah.
Gosh.
So we
the
jumped on
league,
the bus.
League can't step in and be like, hey, we're going to push this game a day back.
I guess not. I don't know what
Gosh.
goes behind that.
Yeah.
I just remember they were bringing pizza down from the concession stand and
Yeah.
hot dogs and everything just for they had to reopen them for the fans
Wow.
because it was like a 5-6 hour game.
Some kind of game,
Yeah.
man. That's crazy. Well, so you played, like you said, half your career here and then really half in the AHL still. I mean, even to this point, like I'm sure as this time keeps going, it's going to tip to ECHL.
Yeah.
But like you were in Bridgeport for what, 3-4 seasons?
I was only in Bridgeport for 1. I was in Hartford for 2.
That's right. Okay. I was just going to say, because it was somewhere in the same, they're not in the same division, are they? Atlantic?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that with Hershey and like Lehigh Valley in them?
So it changed. It used to be when the AHL was majority Northeast before
Yeah.
they opened up like the California division and all that.
Yeah.
We were in with like Providence, Springfield, Manchester, Worcester. Like it was just literally like a New England clump.
Yeah.
And then when they all went out west, then we joined like Lehigh, Hershey, that kind of swing there.
Okay. So let me, and not to, I do not mean this in like a Debbie Downer way because we're having a lot of fun here. This is a fun conversation, but I'm always curious with guys that have a career like yours that has kind of obviously spanned a decade plus, multiple leagues. Like at what point, I had this conversation with Louis Caparuso, like full disclosure, you get to a point where like when did the AHL deal stop coming? Like, or when did you get to a point that, are you at an age now where obviously I feel like they look at the number and they say, okay, he's in his 30s. We're probably not going to call him up as much or ever. But if an offer comes, like, are you at the point in your career where it's like, no, like I'm staying in the coast?
I would never say never. I think there was a point a few years ago where call-ups kind of became not really something that I was interested in.
Okay.
Not so much because I didn't think I could play up there or I didn't want to play up there.
Yeah.
It's just for anybody that's been called up on a PTO, like it's not fun. It's
Right.
probably honestly the worst thing in sports.
Really?
Because you're going into a new team. You're there because either A, somebody's not doing their job, or B, somebody's hurt. So right away, you're in there technically competing for somebody else's job that's been there the whole year. Mm-hmm. And then C, there's no guarantee. Because you can be released from a PTO at any point. So you're basically going up, you're trying to steal somebody else's job that's already been there, that has relationships with all the guys on the team and stuff like that. And then on top of that, you could walk in the next morning and they say, hey, here's your plane ticket. You're going back.
like mentally that, and I think about that too, because even last year we had guys that were called up, played one game and came right back down.
It's tough mentally. That was,
yeah.
And I think the couple of years I did it, that's what took the toll. Like when I was in Rochester, when I was in Belleville, those like, it like every single morning you wake up, you're like, is this the day that all of a sudden, you know, 2 guys are coming down from Buffalo and I'm the odd guy out? Like it's tough, but obviously we signed up for it.
Right. But do you read into it just as you said there? Like, do you know, like think about it from this year's, or I shouldn't say this year, like this team's perspective, like last year, what goes through, and I don't know if we'll ever get to have a conversation. I don't know if he'll be down at all this year, but like, what goes through Michael Hauser's head when he sees like goaltenders starting to get healthy? I mean, obviously you're part of a team. That's the thing. This is a team sport, but like if you're him and you're smart enough that you start counting the numbers, like so I know I'm using him as the example, but from your perspective, were you in that spot where you're like, that guy's going to be healthy soon? I'm seeing him around the rink a little bit more. Like,
yeah, everybody people are lying if they said they never like focused on that.
Right.
Like every single guy does, but in like Hauser's or other guys, if you're contracted, at least you have that kind of guarantee. Whether if he's here, Rochester, Buffalo, like he's still contracted. But when you're on a PTO, basically you walk in, guys got healthy, they tear it, and you're going back to where you came from.
Yeah.
No guarantees, no severance pay, no nothing. You're gone. So I think from that standpoint, it's just a lot of people aren't wired to deal with that stress. Like you're in a hotel, you don't have any of your stuff, you don't have a car, you don't know the city, you don't know anybody on the team. And like I said, you're there because of one of the two reasons. So you're kind of just walking around on eggshells every single day. And I mean, I did it a few times, and in Rochester it worked out. I ended up signing. I was there all year, and I loved everybody on the team.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it doesn't turn out that way. And that's kind of where it gets hard.
Well, the thing is, like, you still obviously take a lot of pride here because some guys, they don't take going down easy. And I'm sure you've seen guys that have dealt with that. But, like, for yourself, I mean, now you fast forward to present day, you've been here for, several seasons consecutively. You've been the captain for this is your fourth year wearing the C. You have more than that, just wearing a letter in general on the team. Like, does that, I would imagine that even helps just your game. Because there's a level of comfort, not to say you should always be comfortable, but there is something to be said for something along those lines, right?
Yeah, I think, who did I say? I forgot who I said it to, but it was like before the home opener, and I was like, we were just talking or whatever, and I was like, there's a balance between nerves and being comfortable. You never want to be fully comfortable because that's when you lose sight of what is on the line, or you get too comfortable, you stop doing things, you stop working as hard. But you also can't be the full other way and just a nervous wreck,
right?
Because nobody can play like that. Nobody can perform in any job like that. If you're sitting there and the boss is just over your shoulder staring at you the whole time, and the first mistake you make, you're done.
Yeah,
it's not going to end well for anybody. But I think even if, like, I still get some butterflies, that home opener, the big crowds or whatever, and I think that's something where if you still get that, I guess you still can kind of tell yourself, like, I still want to do this.
Yeah.
But if it ever gets to the point where, you're not getting jacked up for games, or you're not a little bit nervous, or, a little into the huge crowd there yelling and stuff, then it's kind of, well, what am I doing here then?
Your dad played pro hockey well over a decade, and now you're in that double digits mark too. So, like, I mean, are you, because we've seen it at all levels, like even in, I mean, hell, you ever play against Joe Sova? Mm-hmm. Dude, that guy's still in the SPHL. Yeah. Like, he is like mowing around, and this guy has been around forever. Like, former Albany River Rat. Yeah. Like, but guys like him and guys in the coast and, guys in the AHL, at least from the people I met in that league, I think of like the Chris Boricks and the TJ Brennans that like stay around. They keep going and going and going. Like, is that you? I mean, because some guys I do think sit there. I mean, Mingo is on record said he's done after this year. Yeah. So, like, are you either just chasing milestones? Obviously, there's a championship, but do you think you're one of those guys that, like, hey, let's just say it all happens this year and the Cyclones win the Kelly Cup? I don't know. I feel like I talked to you enough.
No, I wouldn't. I would still come back.
That's what I think.
Yeah. No, for me, I don't know. I guess.
Like, you love it.
I was going to say, like, not because I have something else to do, or I guess the other way would be I don't have anything else to do, so I want to keep playing. For me, it's just kind of, there is going to be a day where I wake up and I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I think I've actually talked to you about it before, is professional sports is one of the only professions in the world that has a shelf life that is not the normal retirement age.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yep.
So there's going to be a time, whether it's at 35, 38, 40, whatever that is, I don't know. Father Time, I guess, is the only one that knows that. Yeah. But where you no longer can do that job anymore. So in my, I guess, head, it's why am I going to cut that short when I know it will end at some point naturally? So I may as well continue as long as I can and be productive and help the team win, I guess.
Schultz made it to like 40.
Exactly.
If that's the case, you got another 8 years,
yeah,
buddy.
So, I mean, you never know. And that's the thing. I mean, I'm not sitting at a computer job where I could do it till I'm 70.
Right.
There is
That's
a
true.
shelf life on it. And at some point or another, Father Time will win.
What do you think the chances are of you like getting into coaching? I think you want to do that, right?
Yeah, I think I'd like to at least kind of dip my toe in the water, per se, and at least see that side of things, and if I like it, and if it's, I guess, a career that I'd want to do.
Yeah.
But never know until you actually do it. I mean,
Or Twitch streamer.
yeah.
Or pro wrestler.
Exactly. I mean, there's tons of players that all they say is they want to coach, and then they start coaching, and they either A, aren't very good at it, or B, don't like it.
Yeah.
So
People would have thought Wayne Gretzky would have been coaching forever.
exactly. But
Right.
and if you talk to people, the way he played the game, saw the game, your average player doesn't see that.
Yeah.
So when he's sitting there trying to tell guys like, why aren't you doing this? The guy, well, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so he was almost too far ahead in his own mind to where the players on the ice couldn't even see that play developing.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't connect with players.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time. Well, and that's the thing. Like, it's got to be hard to connect. We are getting to the end of this, by the way, but man, that's such a deep question right there, because you could talk about that for another hour. That stuff. Because the problem is, I actually watched Barrett Brooks, who used to be play like offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
He had a conversation where he talked about when he retired, and it's like, it was honestly like heartbreaking hearing him talk, but he said it's like, my mind still knew everything that it did for the last 10 years, but like my body, like your brain is connecting every muscle in your body. And he's like, it's just not, the wires are not connecting like fast enough anymore.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the scary part when you think of that stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why for me, it's like, why am I going to put a stop to it if I could still do it?
Yeah.
When I know there's an end at some point.
Right.
And I don't want to regret. I don't want to, retire next year or whatever it is and wake up, because you see it all the time, guys unretire. And I always said I would never be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big believer in when you go out, you're out.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, maybe I'll come back or maybe I'll do this. I guess the ECHL doesn't really have formal retirements.
True.
To where other leagues kind of do a press briefing and all that stuff. And you actually have to fill out a paper.
Yeah. Yeah. In the NHL, I know you do, right?
You actually have to physically fill out a paper and send it into the league that says, I am retired. But that's mainly because of like a salary cap thing and contracts and stuff like that.
What do you think you're going to, like, let's have some fun with this. I mean, you're 33? So I'll say this. Okay, you'll play as long as you can. In 20 years from now, when you're 53, I don't know that you'll still be playing in the ECHL.
I highly doubt it. I can almost guarantee it.
You would be I think you'd make a record. Gordie Howe, I don't know. Or him or Chris Chelios.
Yep.
They played in their 50s.
Yep.
Pro. What do you think you're going to be in 20 years? Like, what do you think you're going to be? Where do you think you're going to be? These are fun questions for some guys.
Ooh.
Gonna be a gardener with the wife and the dog, and
Like, I guess the easy answer would say to be doing something in hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know what capacity that means. I don't know if that's, coaching, scouting, whatever it may be. I don't know. That's, I guess, the easy answer. Outside of the hockey, though, I'm like,
Give me a hobby you think you could do.
For a career path.
No, not for a career path.
Or
Just
a hobby.
What's something that when you're going to have more downtime in your life, you're not going to be on the roadies to Coralville, Iowa, and Newfoundland, like the rando spots I just picked?
Like, I'd need a lot of work and some instruction stuff, but I would love to be I guess Twitch, but like the old TikTok thing, like of cooking streams.
Oh, okay. All right.
I love cooking. I think I'm fairly decent. I don't go too crazy, but I'm also not making just the same thing every single night. But I would love to be like a very capable chef, I guess.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun way to end it. Give us one food item to end it that you are most proud of making. Like what's something that you would say, buddy, you eat this, knock your socks off?
Actually, last night, picked some fresh basil, made a nice little homemade pesto cream sauce.
Okay.
With some orzo pesto, and then had a couple chicken breasts with it and stuff. So I think that is one of my go-tos. The other one would definitely be chicken parm. That's the easy
right.
answer for me.
I wouldn't eat the chicken parm only because I don't like red sauce, but the basil pesto combo
Yeah, it was good.
would muck it up.
It was very good.
All right, we've been going really long, which is longer than I thought was going to be long. But Vaiver's always a good sport with it. Justin Vaive, our guest this week on 2 for Chirping. Make sure you stay tuned because we got another one in just a couple of weeks. Thanks, Vaiver.
Thanks for having me.